Welcome to the Theoly Podcast. Today is March 9th, 2026, and we are on day 68 of reading through the Bible. So we start out today with Moses summoning the leaders of the tribes of Israel and telling them what the Lord has commanded concerning vows. So if a man makes a vow to the Lord or makes a pledge under oath, he must never break it. He must do exactly what he said he would do. But if a young woman makes a vow to the Lord or a pledge under oath while she's still living in her father's home, if her father agrees with the pledge the day he hears of it, then her vow or pledges will become valid. But if he does not agree with the vow and he refuses to let her fulfill it, and he says this the day he hears of it, then all of her vows and pledges will become invalid, and the Lord will forgive her because her father would not let her fulfill them. But suppose a young woman makes a vow or binds herself with an impulsive pledge and later marries. If her husband learns of her vow or pledge and does not object of it, then her vows and pledges will stand. But if her husband refuses to accept her vow or impulsive pledge on the day that he hears of it, he nullifies her commitments and the Lord will forgive her. But if, however, a woman is a widow or is divorced, then she must fulfill her vows and pledges. Suppose a woman is married and living in her husband's home when she makes a vow or binds herself with a pledge. If her husband hears of it and does not object, then of course her vow or pledge stands. But if he refuses to accept it on the day that he hears of it, her vow or pledge will be nullified and the Lord will forgive her. So her husband may either confirm or nullify any vows or pledges that she makes to deny herself. But if he does not object on the day he hears of it and he is agreeing to all her vows and pledges, if he waits more than a day and then tries to nullify a vow or a pledge, then he will be punished for her guilt. So it says that these are the regulations the Lord gave Moses concerning relationships between a man and his wife, and between a father and a young daughter who still lives at home. Now the Lord comes to Moses and says that on behalf of the people of Israel, it's time to take revenge on the Midianites for leading them into idolatry. And then after that, Moses is going to die and join his ancestors. So Moses tells the people to choose 1,000 men from each tribe. So there's a total of 12,000 men then from the 12 tribes, and arm them to fight into battle. 12,000 men get ready. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, leads them into battle. They carry along the holy objects of the sanctuary and the trumpets for sounding the charge, and they go attack Midian as the Lord commanded Moses. And they killed all the men. All 5 of the Midianite kings, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, died in battle. They also killed Balaam, son of Beor, with the sword. Then the Israelite army captured all the Midianite women and children and seized their cattle and flocks, and all their wealth as plunder. They burned the towns and villages where the Midianites had lived, and then after that, they gathered all the plunder and captives and brought them to Moses and Eleazar the priest and the whole community of Israel, which was camped on the plains of Moab beside the Jordan River across from Jericho. So Moses, Eleazar, and all the leaders of the community go out to meet them outside the camp. And Moses becomes furious with the generals and the captains who had returned from battle because they let all the women live and they brought them back. And these are the very same women who had followed, it says they followed Balaam's advice and caused the people of Israel to rebel against the Lord at Mount Peor. These are the same women who caused the plague to strike the Lord's people. So he says to go and kill all the boys and all the women who have laid with a man. Only young girls who are virgins may live. You may keep them for yourselves, he says. And then any of you who have killed or touched a dead body must stay outside the camp for 7 days and purify yourselves. You must purify your captives also. On the 3rd and 7th days, purify all your clothing too, and everything made of leather, goat hair, or wood. And then Eleazar the priest explains that the Lord has also given requirements that anything made of metal, so gold, silver, bronze, iron, tin, or lead, must pass through the fire to become ceremonially clean. And then they also must be purified with the water of purification. But anything that burns must be purified by the water alone. On the 7th day, they must wash their clothes and be purified, and then they can return to camp. So then the Lord explains to Moses how they should divide all these spoils. He says that Moses and Eleazar the priest and the family leaders of each tribe are to make a list of all of the plunder taken in battle, including people and animals, divide the plunder into 2 parts and give half to the men who fought in the battle and half to the rest of the people. So from the army's portions, they're going to first give the Lord his share of the plunder, one of every 500 of the prisoners or cattle or donkeys, sheep, and goats. Give this share of the army's half to Eleazar the priest as an offering to the Lord. From the half that belongs to the people of Israel, you take one of every 50 of the prisoners and cattle and donkeys, sheep, and goats, and other animals. Give this share to the Levites, who are in charge of maintaining the Lord's tabernacle. So Moses and Eleazar the priest did this. The plunder remaining from everything the fighting men had taken totaled 675,000 sheep and goats, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 virgin girls. Half of the plunder was given to the fighting men, and then half the plunder belonged to the people of Israel. Then all the generals and captains come to Moses. They said, "We are your servants. We've accounted for all the men who went out into battle under our command. Not one of the men was missing." So they presented the items of gold that they captured as an offering to the Lord from their share of the plunder. So they had armbands, bracelets, rings, earrings, and necklaces. And they said, "This will purify our lives before the Lord and make us right with him." So Moses and Eleazar the priest received the gold from all the military commanders. And in all, the gold that the generals and captains presented as a gift to the Lord weighed 420 pounds. All the fighting men had taken some of the plunder for themselves. So Moses and Eleazar the priest accepted the gifts from the generals and captains and brought the gold to the tabernacle as a reminder to the Lord that the people of Israel belonged to him. Thanks for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.